Okay. I know I kind of have a bunch of my apps and folders, a lot of folders on my screen, and honestly, I don't give a fuck. I was originally going to get a I guess I could have gotten some gameplay. I do have some gameplay to use, but I'd rather just go off the cusp and just wing it like I always do. Um, I actually kind of decided I like this. Whenever I finish a game, I'll get a wallpaper that I like, and I'm gonna put it on the screen, and I'm gonna talk about it. So I just finished Trails of Cold Steel 1 out of the 4 games. I just finished the first one. It was about 60 hours, 70 hours maybe, roughly, give or take. I think. I need to double check, but it took me a decent amount of time. It could have taken me a lot longer if I really wanted to get everything. But let's start off. Let me just wing it as always. But where should I start? So, Trails of Cold Steel 1. If I could put a single word into this game, it would be very raw. It's very the concept is there, but it's a little bit unpolished. For example, I know I'm gonna sound like a broken record every time I say this, but I played Persona 4, Persona 5. I need to play Persona 3. I played Persona 5 Royal, and that's the true JRPG stuff. That's how you really uh, get characters involved in the story and how much you involve in them. Now, Trails of Cold Steel 1, well, the problem with this game is that there's so many characters and they just dump so much lore on you. I wouldn't say they expect you to play the first trilogy, but it's recommended, I should say, in order to understand the lore. You don't need to play it to understand the world. You can still understand it if you look hard enough and actually put the effort into actually reading the lore and everything, which I did. But, you know, for Persona, you could start any of the games and it'll build its own lore through that singular game. This does not. It adds on to the games beforehand, even though it's its own standalone, and that's a little bit of a problem because I can tell there's some guest characters from the previous few games. I now granted I never played the first trilogy, Trails of Cold Sky, Trails of Sky, something like that. And even then, since I never played it, I still watched some videos about it and learned about the lore at least. So I wasn't going in completely blind. This was after when I first started Trails of Cold Steel 1. So when I was in the middle, not, I wouldn't say in the middle, more like early on in this game, I I read some of the lore on the first game, and I also made sure not to know anything about the later games. So it was very difficult, but I managed to find out the lore about the first trilogy and like a prequel sort of in between the first trilogy and this trilogy. So, well, this isn't a trilogy; it's a quadrilogy, I guess, because it's four. That's beside the point. So, this game is mm, decent. I'd give it a decent score. Now, it's not grindy. That's one of the big things I like about it. It's not grindy at all. You can finish the game on medium difficulty and even hard difficulty without hardly any grinding. Levels, you can get levels ridiculous. It's hard at the beginning of the game, as my videos have shown. It is a little bit difficult at the beginning of the game, as rightly so, because you don't have, well, anything. You don't really have a lot of tools to start off at the beginning of the game. All you can do is just fucking whack them, and that's pretty much it. But at the end of the game, you can do a lot. Do a lot more stuff. Now, I haven't min-maxed and mastered to the best of my abilities. I still did a decent job, I think. But if I really wanted to push this game to its edge, I feel like any boss would have just been a cakewalk. And I wouldn't say it was a cakewalk, but the enemies that lead up to the main boss are definitely a cakewalk. No matter what, there was one thing I knew very early on, and it started a little bit around I'd say about 25% through the game. The enemies that lead up to the main boss got a lot easier, and so you could just like crush anyone in your path and prepare for the main boss and just crush him too. That and that worked all through the game. That was the easiest shit. The enemies that lead up to the boss are the easiest mofos ever. It's not even close. Now there are some mini bosses, but even then they're not that tough either. So that I will knock the game on that. It's a little too easy, except for the main bosses. Some of them are a little bit difficult, but you can still figure it out as long as you don't go completely stupid like me, because that's exactly what I did sometimes. I did something really dumb, and then I got screwed over for it. That's just how it is, and I'm fine with that. But that's just how I view it. So the main part that I like about any JRPG or any game that I play is two things, really. I don't really care about the gameplay. I don't really give a crap about the graphics. If I cared about the graphics, I wouldn't be playing this game, or I'd upgrade my laptop to get better graphics. I don't give a fuck about graphics, lag. I don't give a shit. What I do care about is the story involving the characters and how the characters interact with each other. You can just make a bunch of characters and have them interact with the main character and just call it a day. But a real game puts them all together and interact with each other like an actual class. Now, this game, it does a decent job, I'd say. I would like it to do a little bit more when it comes to interacting with the characters, because it's usually involving, the MC is here or whatever, or you kind of start that conversation, and then they would go off to do their own thing instead of the other characters interacting with each other without you, the main character. Which, I mean, all things considered, I would consider it a problem if it was like in the later games of this 4-game series, but this is the first one, and it's pretty decent. I mean, I'm setting my expectations decently, and it's filled it. If this game was, if I didn't want to play this game, I wouldn't play this game. This is how it is. Now, the only reason why I didn't record this game, one, it's a lot of space on my laptop. I could have done it, but also because it's a lot of hours. I know I said I put like 60 or 70 hours in that thing. It's probably more just me standing around figuring things out, you know. And sure, I could have done that, but I don't think this game, because, you know, I can't post hour-long content videos like that, you know, without being somewhat edited. And I could edit if I wanted to, but I honestly do not want to. I'd rather just go off the cusp and do dumb shit. That's literally my thing. And this is kind of what I like to do. I like to just keep talking and what I feel and think about the game. So, back to the story. The story, there is one thing about this game that I like a lot compared to any trilogy of JRPGs or any game. This game does not tell you shit. You are confused. You don't know shit. Not like tutorial-wise, but in terms of story. You don't know jack diddly squat. And it will not tell you anything. I just finished this game, and I still have no idea what's going on. There's a civil war starting in this game, and I have no clue what's going on in any shape, way, or form. That's what I love about this game. There was a plan for multiple games to come out. Most JRPGs, I think they go for the one game, and if it does good, then they have to scramble for the next few games if they can. This game already knew there was going to be multiple games. The company that made this already knew there was going to be multiple ones no matter what. And so they were able to build on that and not put so much in the first game and decently space it out story-wise. Now, in terms of the story, also the story itself, there's not much going on. I mean, there's a little bit going on, but you can kind of see it a mile away. And, well, not really. I mean, no, you can kind of see it. You can kind of see things coming a mile away. Now, it's hard to explain to someone who hasn't played Tales of Cold Steel, but I don't give a fuck. You just fucking watch a video. I would say watch my video, but I'm not recording all that shit. But, I like the characters. Now, the characters are very stereotypical, which is fine. I'm fine with that. Sometimes, it surprises me a little bit when they go a little deeper into what they want. And I kind of like that. But this game is very stereotypical, as you can see from my first few videos. Pretty much no one has changed since my first few videos. They have not changed their personalities, if that, very little. If that. But that's just how it is. But they do grow a little bit. There's a lot of growth in the middle of the game. At the end of the game, not so much. It kind of dies down a little bit. They focus more on the story wise in the end of the game. The middle of the game is the best part of this game because you have the potential to do anything you want with any character you can meet, bonds you can form, weapons you can make. There's a lot of stuff you can do in the middle of the game. At the end of the game, it starts to die down, and then it goes into story mode. And then, you're kind of bored, and you're like, oh my god, what the fuck is going on? And then, I don't think there's a problem with saying, what the fuck is going on when it comes to the story-wise, but if it keeps on happening over and over and over again, I kind of like it, but it's starting to get a little bit annoying. But if this was only like a two-parter or even a three-parter trilogy, I would have had a little bit of a problem with it. But since this is a 4 game, you could say this was the launch pad of the games. Now, I've heard Trails of Cold Steel is worse, I think, than the first one. I don't really know. I have to play it. And I don't think I'm going to be playing Trails of Cold Steel until, I don't know, a little bit. I don't want to, jump into Trails of Cold Steel immediately. You know what I mean? I'd rather think about it. And, I am going to play Trails of Cold Steel eventually. It's not going to be like a year or something or a few months. It might even be next week or in 2 weeks, But I'd rather wait a little bit. And because I kind of died a little. Not died. I definitely played this game a little bit too hard at a certain point. And I spaced myself out the last few hours that I played this game, which is good. That's literally what I needed. Because when I was churning out videos, you may have saw like 4 or 5 videos. I have about 10 videos in the bank right now that I could just drop right now, but I have no interest in doing it. Literally zero. I'm pretty sure I deleted them because I'm like, I don't want to fucking post this because it's boring. It's not boring. I just don't want to do it. I don't want to post another hour-long video and have only my buddies say, "Hey, yo, Peak Fiction." And I'm like, base, nah. I want to eventually do 20-minute videos. That's what I want. And this is not going to be a 20-minute video, so I'm already fucking that over, but that's besides the point. So those are the pros. I've listed some of the pros. The game is decently sized. It doesn't tell you shit about the lore. You have to find that out yourself, and I like that. I like it about that. It doesn't ham-fist you, mostly. It does ham-fist a few things. There's a lot of characters, but they're easy to distinguish from each other. They're not they're very distinguished from each other, thank goodness. And you can tell what you can learn what each and every one of them want. And, they show their families, their other friends as well, what their dreams, their goals, their other interactions. It's a good game when it comes to the characters. And, this is, the cast that you see right here. This isn't even like 25% of the characters that are in the first game. There's a massive amount of people in this fucking game. And it's gonna increase in the next few games too, to hundreds more that I'm probably gonna have to remember. And that's why this game relies on characteristics a lot, because that's the only way how you're gonna fucking remember them. But those are the pros, I think, that I've listed. I'll probably reiterate it, and I'll probably say it again in the future in this video. I'm not really sure. Again, I'm literally going off what I just finished the game 10 minutes ago, 30 minutes ago roughly, and I'm just going off the cusp. So, the cons of this game. Unfortunately, there's quite a bit of cons. Now, one of the big cons is that the characters don't interact with each other like truly. They'll have some lines of dialogue, but it isn't like, you know, they're hanging out doing shooting the shit, you know, like in Persona 4 you're just doing dumb shit. I'll tell you a story. When I would play Persona 4, I would hardly I would get to, there was a point at the game where I would boot it up and wait for the game to start its first sequence, you know, the opening sequence, and I would just like stare at it and then turn it off afterwards because I couldn't like bring myself to play the game because it reminded me so much of my close friends and my buddies that I still hang out with a decent amount, but nowhere near as much as high school. And you know, it's not like I miss high school all that much. I don't miss high school itself. I miss hanging out with my friends the most and just doing dumb shit. That's it. Shooting the shit, saying dumb shit, and just literally hanging with them. Basically in like a prison setting. School was basically a prison for us, and you know, we were the inmates. We were the lovable inmates. That was just us. You know, and I love that. You know, I like that. And Persona 4 reminded me of that. You know, small town Persona 4, small group of friends with a very close, tight knit. And you know, it brought me to like, nope, I can't play this because then I'm just gonna start getting feelings, and I don't like that shit. I did end up finishing it, thank goodness. Once I finally got, you know, angry enough, then I'm like, fuck it, I'm just gonna finish it, and I just do it, you know. I didn't get any of that feeling here in Trails of Cold Steel 1. Now, granted, it is the first game. I know I keep saying that, but it is literally the first game, so there's a lot to go on, a lot to improve, and a lot to get worse on, apparently. But I don't really know, because that's just what people say about the next few games. So, the characters are memorable. That's a good thing. But they're not memorable enough. They're all pretty much a one-trick pony, if I'm being honest with you. That's the best compliment I can give them. They're a one-trick pony, and maybe a few other things in each character. Maybe that, if anything. And that's kind of okay. It's not terrible. I've played worse. I've had worse stories. This one is not terrible. It's okay. And it has great potential to be better, which is good. So, the one thing, you know, about this game, you know, it heavily emphasized a school environment. Nigga, I only took one goddamn test in that fucking school, bro. I only took a fucking midterm in this fucking game, and I fucking got a fucking B in that bitch. I don't give a fuck, you know? I mean, there was no emphasis on school, if I'm being honest with you. There was literally zero interest in school when it come to this game. You're just there. You don't really learn anything. You don't really learn things in a classroom environment. You just like wait till the classroom's over and then do your own shit for like a little bit, like upgrade your weapons maybe, and then like buy some fucking food and weapons and shit, and then continue on with the main quest. There's not really any side quests. Like the side quests are all fucking fetch quests. I'm gonna be honest with you. They're all fucking fetch quests. None of them are hardly interesting. None of them affect the plot in any shape, way, or form. You could just fucking skip all of them, and you'd still be crushing the game. It's fucking stupid. And earning money in this game, fucking dumb as bricks. Like you never get enough money to do what you want. I literally had to cheat through this game through a broken system on making a bunch of fucking eggs to sell to the highest bidder, and just do that shit all over again with the bare necessities and keep on getting a profit thanks to my boy Orange Head over here, you know. And that's how I made money. And without that, I still would have cruised through the game, but there was a lot of work that I put into that did not fucking matter when it came to, you know, upgrading weapons and shit. You could have just fucking bought basic ass weapons and you could have just fucking tanked through anything and fucking crush you. Hell, as long as you had Laura on your fucking team, fucking the big ass sword chick, she could have one-shotted pretty much anything. I'm not even kidding. She would one-shot. At the end of the game, when I started to realize how powerful she would pretty much one-shot anyone. Literally anyone. The only time she wouldn't one-shot someone was during the main bosses, and even then she would take like half of their health, or a quarter at the very least, what she does the ultimate attack. And that's a lot of fucking damage right there. And that's like without like fucking debuffing my enemies and buffing her own. That's just her. She's just a monster on her own. So she was always number one on my team because she's a fucking heavy hitter. And then you have Fee, the little one to the far left. Fast as hell. She could literally do whatever she wants. She's the fastest person in the game. Not only that, but she can evade faster than anyone else. She has a 50% evade to dodge anything. And anytime she dodges, she gets a crit on whatever she does, which helps me even more. So I just send her out in the middle of nowhere and just watch her dodge everything and crit everything and kill everything. And it's base as fuck. Now the last party, besides me, of course, was really anyone at that point. It was up for grabs for anyone. No one really took it because no one was that powerful enough. Maybe Elliot, the orange-haired kid, was a decent defensive fighter and a healer. He was usually in that last spot if I really needed one, because I didn't really need damage dealers besides me, Laura, and Fee was just more of a speedy support, if anything, because she was fast enough to take on anything, and that was pretty much it, if anything. So that was my team, and that team pretty much stayed the whole way through. Pretty much through the whole game, if I'm being honest with you. The whole way through. Without a doubt in my mind. And I just started, once I had that team on lock, I just started just rolling through cats, and it wasn't even funny. I mean, it was kind of funny at first, but then it just got boring because I was just destroying everyone. But the combat is good. I do like the combat in this game. It was confusing at first. They didn't explain shit. Or probably because I didn't read shit, because that's just how I am. But the gameplay and the combat is not the gameplay. The combat is good. I like it. I like the combat. Not at the end though. The end got a little, rock'em sock'em robots. Quite literally. You're not gonna get that, but I imagine rock'em sock'em robots, and that's it. At the end of the game, the final fight in the game was, well, I'm gonna be honest, fucking dog shit. I'm gonna be honest with you. It was a 1v1. And fucking giant fucking Gundam robots and shit, and it was just literally whack ones, hit you, he hits you again, special move, hits you once, nothing special, no abilities, hardly any abilities. You don't get your team, it's only you, and it's supposed to be like a 1v1 between a hero and an antagonist, hero shit, but it just got fucking boring, and I'm like, bro, there was like 2 fights before that was way more harder than this fucking thing. And I like that because I had to work with my teammates through the whole fucking, fight. And we barely scratched it out, and I kind of sweated over it. The end of the fight in this game, I didn't sweat at all. I'm like, what the fuck? It's easy as fuck. But, that's besides the point. So, I know it's gonna be a little bit crazy about which character that I liked the most. I'd probably go with the tier list. To start off with, I don't like the main character, Rin. He's a fucking anime protagonist to a fucking T with all the goddamn speeches this motherfucker spouts out of his mouth. This dude spouts so many fucking speeches that are so goddamn annoying. It's the most annoying shit ever. I'm gonna be honest with you. It gets pretty annoying, and he doesn't stop. It gets to a point where people make fun of him because of it, and they do that motherfucker deserves it because that's all he speaks. Not one cuss word, not one you're a bitch, nothing. Fucking He's bland. He's literally fucking bland. Which, you know, the one saving grace for this character is that he's voiced, and that's pretty much it. If he was a silent protagonist, I would have like punched a hole through my laptop. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't like silent protagonists. I think it's a fucking cop out. You can do them right, but I would much rather prefer a voiced character or voice main character than anything else, because at least I can get the gist of what they're saying through their voice. I don't like silent protagonist. That's just me. That's just like a little quirk that I have. I just don't like it. So he is. I would say decent. I'm gonna put him below average as a main character. He there's not much to go on for this guy. He's just a basic, you know, trained swordsman, only cares about the blade, wants to be a good leader to his friends and keep them together, and friendship speeches. That's pretty much it. And yeah, it's bland. So that's not great starting for the first game. However, I do know that he gets a lot better following in the next few games, and I'm pretty sure it does. I'm hoping it does. So let's start off to the far left, to the Teach with the red hair. Teach, I like Teach. She was not a very graceful character, but she was a very different character. I liked her character a lot. As a teacher, she was the worst, but you know, that's the point. I really liked how she was the connection to the Trails of the Sky series, because she was a bracer. A bracer is basically like not a cop, I would say, more like a hired cop, I should say. An adventurer hired cop, I suppose. Basically fighting the good fight, getting paid to do it all around any country, blah blah blah. Now she's one of the last of the high rank bracers because, you know, their guild shut down due to, you know, complications. But they didn't really tell us shit in this first game, so I assume they're gonna continue with the next two games. Now, the next one, Fee, the small one, right next to Teach, right in front of her. I liked her a little bit too. She was she was kind of bland a little bit, but you got to know her a little bit more. She was the one who actually hid some of her past relatively well, and when you understood where she came from and what she's done, you know, you actually, you know, you grow to like her. Am I really gonna do it for everything for all these characters? Yeah, fuck it, I am. Usus, top left. I liked him. He was a decent character. He definitely did not do good at the end of the game. He was in a huge growth spurt. Same with what's his name, Machias, right next to him. They both had huge growth spurts in character from the beginning to the middle of the game, but then it just fucking cuts off at the end of the game. Pretty much same with all these characters, except for maybe like one or two. Their whole character arc just cuts in the middle of the game, and the game just turns into a fight fest and a slog, and it's not that fucking interesting, you know. Now, I'm gonna save Elisa for last. The blonde hair chick, I'm gonna save her for last. Same with Laura as well. Now Emma, the one with the cat and the glasses, she got a character arc at the end of the game, but at that point I didn't really care about her that much, because we were getting hints about her and her past and who she is at the early and middle, but then at the end we started to get a little bit, but then the game ended and cut us off completely, so we still don't know shit about her. All that we know is that she's some kind of magic user, and that's it. They didn't give a shit. Now, Gaius, big tall homeboy to the right. I like Gaius. Unfortunately, Gaius has the least character arc among everyone in this cast. There's no going around it. He stays exactly the same from the beginning to the end. But he's a decent character. I liked him because I liked his look. I liked his weapon. You know, maybe they could have gone to say, you know, him being from a different country, he has a struggle with that. They just mentioned that he struggled a little bit, and that's it. That's about it, really. That's about it. That's literally it. He out of all the characters in the screen, he stayed the same all throughout the from beginning to end. He stayed pretty much exactly the same. Uh, Now to the far right, what's her name? I don't fucking remember her name. See, that's a problem. I don't. She was a side character. Basically, the whole right side that aren't wearing the red coats are side characters. They're like the supporting cast, except for that motherfucker. But we're gonna talk about him later. She doesn't do much. I'm gonna be honest with you. She's just like tomboy, but like no, that's pretty much it. But she wasn't that interesting, so I didn't really connect with her that much. And again, she's rarely in the game. If I'm being honest with you, she's hardly ever in the game, so it doesn't really matter. Now the far right, the guy with the mechanic's outfit, also, rarely in any cutscenes. Supporting cast, you'll see him a lot, but he doesn't do much. Now the little one on the far right, she actually does a lot more. She's actually a decent side character. Out of all the side characters that are in this game, she's probably up there as a side character because she actually does a lot more. She has a lot more voice lines. She knows what she wants, and I like her a lot more than the other supporting cast. Now, the other chick to her left, she came at the end of the game. Millium, I don't know a lot about her at all. There was no character arc with her at all. Literally zero. And I'm not really voting her on anything because, again, she came at the end of the game, and she got no character arc, no screen time, hardly any screen time. Basically, she was like Haru from Persona 5, but at least Haru got some screen time and at least somewhat of an arc, She got no arc in any shape, way, or form. Now, Crow, the homeboy with the white bandana. Spoilers for the fucking game. Who cares? The game's fucking at least a few years old. I don't give a fuck. He's basically the antagonist of this game. I know, shocking. But I wasn't really fucking surprised, if I'm being honest with you. He's the antagonist of the game. We don't know shit about him. All that we know is that he was from a country that the Empire took over, or subjugated, I should say. And I don't know. And apparently he didn't like that, or something happened to him during that time. I don't know what. I don't know why. But he's the antagonist of the game because he wants to get revenge at the Empire. That's quite literally all I know. I would say that's all I can give you, but that's quite literally all I know. That's all I know. I don't know shit. Now, Elliot's actually a decent, very, very good side character. I liked Elliot's arc. Elliot started off as a young gun, not knowing what he wants, hardly even sure that he even wants to stay in the academy, to accepting that he's at the academy and learning that he has to make the best of his choice, and learning through his musical career. And I really liked Elliot's character arc. Out of all the characters, I'd say him and maybe another one, maybe two, have a very good character arc. Now, let's start off with the last two, Laura and Elisa. Elisa's the blonde-haired one. Laura is the blue-haired giant chick. Now, I know a lot of people expected me, well, not a lot, but I know my homies definitely expected me to go and try to go for the big-head, tall lady with a big-ass sword. And it was like that at first. I was interested, but then I realized that she was way too much of a one-note character. All she only cared about was getting stronger through the sword, and that's it. There was no chemistry. There was no oomph, you know what I mean? Nothing. It was just about her getting stronger. That's it, and trying to be like her father, who's also a legendary swordsman. That's it. She only sees the main character as not as a rival, but as someone who can help train her to become stronger, and two of them get stronger together. That's it. That's quite literally it. and I like her character, but as of the first game, she's far too much of a one trick pony. Now Elisa, I romance her in this game. I know, funny, I get it, but she is easily the character who has shined the most in terms of character arc. Out of all the characters ever in this game, she has had the most screen time besides the main character, and has had the most character arc. Now, I don't want to get too into it, but she's the only character out of this whole cast that has actually shown some kind of future for the plans that involve, not don't just involve their careers, but involve a future family perhaps. And once you said that you wanted to focus on a family in the future, that was it. That was a wrap. That was a wrap. I'm like, all right, where do I sign? That was pretty much it. Because the main character, as I said, it's kind of hollow when it comes to romancing any other girl in this game, except for Elisa. Elisa is not hollow, at least from my point of view. She has the most screen time, as I said, the most screen time, the most lines, and the most what's the word? Chemistry with the main character. I granted that chemistry is like a fucking brick wall, but it's there at least. And I prefer, again, this is literally the first game, and I'm pretty sure the romance doesn't actually track over to the second or third game. So fuck me, but whatever. So that's these characters. There are more characters that I could go into, but that I honestly do not give a fuck. I mean, I kind of do, but there's so many. There's literally a gobble gaggle fuck of so many fucking characters that I could spend even more hours just talking about them, and I honestly don't fucking want to. If I don't have to, which means I don't have to, therefore I will not do it. I know, base, but that's just how it is. But one thing about a con in this game is you can definitely tell that they cut a decent amount of story, of good story. I know in this game they cut out a vacation arc, and I would have loved to be in a vacation arc to bond with the main characters more, with the whole supporting cast. But they cut it and they put it in a new game plus. I am not going to play a new game plus just for that goddamn fucking just for that little teensy bit of story. I watched a video on it instead, and it's very fucking good. It's very good. However, since I didn't play the game through that thing, I'm not gonna include that really in my review when it comes to the characters, because I didn't play it through the game. I only saw it through a video, and if I have to start a new game plus, play through half of the game, and then get to that part, I'm just gonna punch you in the face. Cause I don't like that shit. I don't like wasting my time. The only thing that I like about any new game plus is that I can go a different path and change the story. You can't change the story in this game. It's the same way from front to end. You can't change the story, no matter what. So I don't want to play New Game Plus and maybe have a few different lines of dialogue between the characters, and that's fucking it. I'd rather just punch through my fucking wall. But besides that, the game is raw, as I said. It's a springboard for the other ones. I've heard the second game is not as good as the first one, but the third one is better, and the fourth one is the best. I actually scratched it. I heard the third one was the best, and the fourth one was above average, which is kind of sad, but that's beside the point. I'm mainly looking forward to playing the third one, because I heard the third one was really where the game shined. So, again, I don't know anything about the lore. I only know the stuff that happened beforehand. And I'm not going to go into the lore either. I could. I don't know. Maybe if someone wants that. If you guys want that, get this thing to fucking 10 likes and I'll fucking do it. I'm just kidding. I don't give a fuck. I'll do it if I want to do it. You know, it doesn't really matter. If you show an interest in doing it, I'll fucking do it. I'll do anything at this point. I don't really care. But my final thoughts on this game is I liked it to a certain degree. I liked how it wasn't grindy, as I said. I could play it through without worrying about much. and I could play it somewhat brain dead, which is awesome to a certain degree. But I also liked the beginning stages of these characters. Now I assume they're gonna grow and have more arcs. I hope they do. But if not, then I'm gonna complain about it in the next few games, and you can see that. So the game ended off, as I said, in a civil war, and everyone basically like One Piece, where everyone's separated pretty much. And I assume in the next scene you got to bring them all together and try to do it. Now I like arcs like that when characters are separated and they are forced to go their own ways and slowly bring themselves back together. I like that, and I'm looking forward to that in the second game. Hopefully, I don't know. I don't really know, you know, if the second game is gonna be good or not at all. I know fucking nothing. But okay, now final thoughts. In terms of rating, I guess I should just do like best out of 10, I guess. I give this game about a 6.5, maybe a 7. No, 7's way. I'd give it a 6 to a 6.5. It is decent. A little bit above decent, barely above decent. It wasn't painful to play this game. It was not painful, but it could have been more, a lot more. You can definitely tell there were budget cuts and things that they cut. You can definitely tell, and I didn't like that. But all things considered, it's 6.5. Not bad. It's not great. It's barely above average, if that. And I mean, it couldn't start worse. But yeah, that's pretty much my thoughts. Other than that, I plan on starting Trails of Cold Steel. I don't know, a few weeks, a month maybe. I don't know. I'll do it when I do it, but I will do it eventually. I will do. That's a guarantee. I will do it eventually. Probably not in a month. Maybe in a few weeks, if that. Maybe I'll upload a few videos. Maybe if that. Maybe something. I don't really know. But other than that, that's about it. And I wanted to thank you. Even though I didn't record my whole series, those who watched, I wanted to thank you for watching that you could watch. And you know. I've learned a lot these past few months when it comes to, you know, recording, editing, and everything. So I'm slowly getting better. Doesn't seem like it right now because I'm just uploading this and pasting it because that's what I want to do. But I will start doing 20-minute videos like a regular YouTuber and focus on that. I'm not trying to get rich on YouTube at all. If you go into YouTube at all expecting something, you're not gonna get it. I know that for a fact from what I've learned from everyone. If you're going to YouTube expecting something to happen and wanting something to happen, it's not gonna happen unless you put in the work. And granted, I haven't been putting in the work when it comes to doing videos, but I'm doing this video, and I do promise that I'll do better. So the first game was basically a trial run for me. Because I never really uploaded anything on YouTube except maybe like a few small 5-second clips, if that. But this was basically a test run for me at a semi-regular schedule. I do need to get better. I do hope eventually I'll be able to record about a 20-minute video, maybe 25, 30 is kind of pushing it. Video per week, edited as well. I would like to actually edit it, and I do need to get a better editing software system, so there's also that. But other than that, that's about it. I hope you enjoy. This is a review on Trails of Cold Steel 1, and I'll see you when I see you. Thank you. Have a nice day.